Hello and welcome to another webinar organized by Pickacos. Good evening to all of you who have joined us with the fourth webinar for the month, which is on personal branding. Before we start, to give a quick introduction to who we are, Pickacos is a platform, very young platform that we created mainly for education. So it's about learning. We have a course finder on www.pickacos.lk. We are present on all social media channels. There are free courses. There are some of the courses that we offer. And also we do things of this nature to disseminate knowledge, of course, bringing in eminent speakers in the industry and various different fields. Right. Now let's move to today's session. If you're here, if you have registered for this session and if you have come for this session, that means that you are someone who wants to create an impression, right? You may be wanting to create an impression offline, or else, since our movements are restricted, since we are spending a lot of time online, you may want to create that impression online, right? So we are going to talk about personal branding. And in order to talk about that subject, we have invited an eminent speaker who's Sasanka Dias. Let me introduce Sasanka. Sasanka is a vice president for Cengage Millionaires Club, as well as he's a personal branding consultant. So someone who has experience on this in this field. And of course, where he consults and coaches people on this subject, as well as you might have seen him in TV, right? Sometime back. He's an experienced news anchor as well, right? So let me introduce Sasanka. Sasanka, welcome, and you can. Hi.
Hi, thank you very much, Prashan. Good evening to all of you. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you for inviting me, Prashan, and the Pickacos team.
Cool. So, folks, let's start. If you are ready and if you're ready to go, you can put a thumbs up on. You can do the reaction so that we know that you are ready. And also, if you have any question, right? Any questions, please feel free to type the question in the chat box, or you can send it directly to me, right? I will, ask that question from Sasanka, right? Thanks for the thumbs up, folks. So Sasanka, so it's an area which is important and something that we hear a lot these days. So let's begin by talking as to what this concept, what is personal branding? Let's start from that.
Yes, Prashan. Personal branding, simply, it's about what other people say about you when you're not in the room. This is what you have already heard. So it's about, if you ask your friend, or if one of your friends asks one of your friends, who are you? You are known for a specific skill or a specific area or a field of study. So that is the expertise you bring in as the personal brand. You have to be known as an authority in your relevant field. So it's about positioning yourself as an expert or a specialist in a niche area that you're really passionate about, and also what you like to do. So it's about building your brand gradually. And what you have to remember is that personal branding is a journey. It's not an overnight story, right? You start from somewhere and you build on it. It might not work in 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, but it'll work in about 8 to 10 years. This is through my experience. So I started building my personal brand 10 years ago. Especially, it got a boost after I started using LinkedIn. So as you said, my involvement as a TV news anchor has also contributed to my personal brand. And that social value has also catapulted me to be what I am today. And I believe that all of you have specific skills. And it's about taking a piece of paper and writing what you're good at. And then you can connect the dots. Ultimately, you will identify what your personal brand is. So there is a time in your career, maybe up to 20, from 20 to 29, is the period that you experiment things. You experiment things in life. You try out new jobs. You stay in one job and move to another job to gain experience. So likewise, after about 29 years, you tend to identify your passion. You tend to identify, yes, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I should pursue. Thereafter, you can start building your brand. And also what is important is, Prashan, the people you meet. Networking goes hand in hand with personal branding. So because the people you meet or people you connect with will help you learn, gain new experience, and also help you grab new opportunities. So I think to begin with, Prashant, that would be sufficient. Let's move on gradually into the other
Folks, you
aspects.
can, yeah, definitely, Sasanka. Thanks for the introduction. Folks, you can type in whatever the questions that you have, and if you want me to ask any question from Sasanka, please feel free to, drop it on the chat. So you were talking about opportunities, that you will find opportunities. So what is the need, Sasanka? If you really think about this need, why do you want to build your personal brand? Right? Why do you said that after some time in your career that you may think of what is this need? If you can just tell me some of the opportunities also that you have got, right? You have got along the way by building your personal brand over this last 10 years, as you mentioned. So the need, if you can just enlighten us on that.
Definitely. So in terms of my opportunities, of course, I think, Prashant, let's start from the opportunities that all the audience, people in the audience have, and then move on to what my experience is, right? So the opportunity that you get through your personal brand is massive, because personal branding is a gold mine. It's just that you have to start mining.
Yeah.
The time is right now, and you start mining, maybe right after this webinar, right? It's now or never. The time is right to do the right thing at all times, right? So what you need to understand is that opportunities you get can help you learn. Maybe if you're an undergraduate, it will help you get an opportunity to be a research assistant for a foreign university. And if you're employed, it might be your next career destination, your next career move. And if someone is aspiring to become an entrepreneur, that is the other opportunity that you have, right? You connect with people, you connect with like-minded people, and they will help you reach your next destination, which will be the biggest opportunity in your life. And if you take jobs, yes, personal brand can help you gain or get the dream job that you have been aspiring for so many years. So opportunities are that. So the opportunities that you get through a personal brand would be unbelievable. It's just that you need to believe in it and work for it. Just for the sake that I'm saying it, it doesn't work. If you read Steve Jobs' biography, you can't become Steve Jobs. You have to work for it. There is a certain pattern that you walk. So it's just that you gain knowledge, you benchmark on it, and you apply. What you learn, you apply. What you learn from this webinar, you apply it, and then you build your brand. Thereafter, you capture the opportunities. So coming back to your question about my opportunities, Prashan, the first opportunity I got through my personal brand was I was hired by, then it was the fastest growing startup in Sri Lanka, Pick Me. I was hired as a social media manager. So they saw my LinkedIn profile. I got a message from the HR, so on and so forth. I got the opportunity. And thereafter, I got opportunities to work for a few startups. all through LinkedIn. And also I got opportunities to host events since I was a communicator, presenter. And through those events, I met diverse individuals who are professionals in various fields. And up to date, I have contacts with them. So I'm in touch with them. And that's the beauty of this. So the opportunities you get can connect you to a range of opportunities, which will be your ultimate. And that will be your dream destination. If you're an entrepreneur, it can help you gain your dream client, right? Opportunities are connected to networking, as I told you earlier. I was listening to one podcast recently, Prashan, and I just wanted to share that, right? So it's about connecting to 100 people. So these 100 people are not your clients, but these 100 people will enable you to connect with your dream clients or your dream opportunity. So that's why I said connecting dots. You connect to a person and that person knows a particular person whom you want to connect. So the previous person will recommend you to the person that you wanted to connect for so long. So this is the experience I have. I have experienced this in real life, right? And I know people who have experienced this in real life, and it's so powerful. So the opportunities that you get are amazing. And once you get it, only once you get it, you'll realize it. Until such time, you need to believe in your skill and build your brand.
Understood. So believing in your skill and building your brand. So let's go to the first point that you mentioned about identifying that purpose, that particular niche. So how do you do this, Sasank? How do you identify? Is there a method to do this? I may be good in different area. You were mentioning about that. How can I go back? How can I identify the niche that I should be positioning myself? How can I identify my purpose in life? Is there a way to do this?
Yeah, it's a good question, Prashan. So this was mentioned in a book which I read a long time ago. It's called The Real Life MBA, written by Jack and Susie Welch, right? Prashan, I'm sure that you know about this book. So in this book, there is something called area of destiny, right? So it's like finding a passion. It's a method to find your passion. After I read it, I realized that this is a perfect way to identify your passion. And ultimately, you convert that to your personal brand. So area of destiny is you have two highways. One highway has your skills and the other highway has your passion. So when these two highways intersect, there is a point that the highways intersect. So that point is your area of destiny. So you write your skills, as I told you earlier, take a piece of paper, write your skills. And on the other side, write your passion. And thereafter, try to connect and try to intersect and find the point that these two areas or the highways connect. That is your passion. So ultimately, that will be your personal brand. Because Prashan, if you don't love what you're doing, you won't do it. It's not about gaining knowledge, not about watching videos, listening to podcasts, talking to people. It doesn't work if you don't take action. This is a commitment. Building your personal brand is a commitment. And Prashant, you know as a lecturer, what is the process that you went through to become a lecturer? It's the result of you taking action, and your personal brand is based on that. So you have to love the process. It's a process. Because maybe now we have youngsters joining this webinar. So if you're 25 years, just think that you start building your personal brand now. 10 years down the line, you will see something. This is the same story with me, with Prashant and everyone, right? So you build your brand, realize or visualize that you will achieve it in 10 years. But when you're 25, the picture is not that clear. But you know that you will do something big. think that, visualize success, and start building a brand. So that's my advice, my take, and that's my experience, Prashant. So uh, to answer your question, I think that sums up.
Definitely. So we are clear, Sasanka. Now you talked about how do you identify your purpose. Now let's go to the process. You were saying once you identify the purpose, it's about building your brand. So are we talking about, I have involved, you introduced me as a lecturer, but my full-time profession is I'm a marketer for the last 10 years
Absolutely.
or so.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I've been involved in building brands, for locally, for multinationals, to all that. So there is a process, just like for your personal brand, identifying the purpose as a brand, set of brand values as a brand purpose, and then you execute it maybe through the identity that you have. It could be the communications, the behavior of the
Mm.
brands, the symbolism, and all that. But how do you do it on a personal level? How do you personify this thing? Now, for a commercial brand, I have the experience, but how do you do it for a human being? How do you apply it to yourself? Let us know.
Yes. So, Prashant, I think, as you rightly mentioned, as a marketer, right? Over the years, there are certain principles that you follow to build a brand, right? But in comparison to a commercial brand, yes, personal brand is different. So, personal brand is all about adding value. You add value. So, you share your knowledge so that the person who sees your content learns from it. He or she will share it. Something that you don't know can be seen on social media platforms. So then you tend to share it. Then you tend to generate ideas using that content. So this is what it is. You should add value, and it has to be authentic. It has to be real. It has to be real. So, for example, if you think that when you're writing on social media, you need to be professional at all times. Yes, some time ago, that was right. But now times have changed, trends have changed, and methods have also changed. So you can use your authentic voice. You can be simple when writing content because everyone needs to understand. Even a 5-year-old should be able to understand. But yes, there is an argument whether a 5-year-old uses social media, but that's how they say it. It has to be that simple. That is the simplicity you bring in. So what you need to understand is that it's about adding value. You share what you know with someone else because it goes back to what I mentioned initially about positioning yourself as an authority in the field of study that you specialized in the arena that you are good at, and the arena that you want other people to know who you are. That is your brand. That is the personal brand. So start building by educating your audience. Yes, you can entertain here and there, but always focus on adding value. Adding value. When you start adding value, people see that value and then they will connect with you. Thereafter, it's about building relationships and giving first and taking next. You give first and then take. The policy is give and take. It's not take and give. Simple as that.
Yeah. Great. This is another reminder for our audience. If you have any questions, any inquiries, anything that you want to, even if you want to share an opinion, please feel free to drop it on the chat. If you want to share an opinion, definitely, I will. We will give you the chance for that as well. Pasaka, we were talking about social media before going into the content. Now there are various social media channels that are present today. Of course, when you think about your personal brand and when you think of ourselves, we think of LinkedIn as one platform. But see, how do you first will look at the channels in particular? We have lot of TikTokers in the country now, and who had made a living out of that also. See, I'll share an example also. When I started Pico Goes, we have a YouTube channel as well. We used to do a lot of videos pre this whole whatever the thing that we are going through right now. We had a lot of video content coming in. I was skeptical whether to go on TikTok, right? Because it's a different audience altogether. We are talking about education. Is it right to go? Right? We were present on Facebook. We were present on Instagram, LinkedIn. I was thinking, let's just stay there. But then again, with some content, I went TikTok and it just flew. And today I have about 25,000 followers on TikTok. Right. So my question is, how do you identify what is a good channel for you? Is there something like good channel versus a bad channel, or is there this relevance to your brand? How do you identify? Just enlighten on that.
Yeah, it's a fabulous question, Prashan, because people tend to blame social media and blame the social media platforms. But it's not the platform's fault. It's the fault of your mindset. It's like having a box of matches, right? You have to decide whether you're going to cook your food or you're going to set yourself alight. That's the choice you make. It's the mindset. So the platform is there. You have to use it in the right way. Yes, there is a platform. You can use it in the right way or wrong way. So if you use it in the wrong way, you have consequences. But if you use it in the right way, the destinations are absolutely blissful, right? So you need to understand that theory or that factor where social media platforms are manipulated, are used by us, are used by the users. So the users have to make sure that the content they put out or deliver is positive, is enlightening, is educating, and entertaining at times, right? So when you differentiate the platforms, Prashan, this is something which I came across some time ago. So how they introduce the platforms is Facebook is like a party, Twitter is like a club, LinkedIn is like a conference, Instagram is like an exhibition, you can say, and TikTok, you have to find a word for that. So TikTok is diverse and it's flamboyant, or whatever. But coming back to what you're doing, Prashan, I think you have made the right choice. TikTok is an educational platform. You can learn a lot. Because I have personally followed global entrepreneurs on TikTok. They're delivering some fantastic content. So you just need to find out those accounts and follow them. And you have for you and following two options. So always make sure that you select the following option so that you see the content of the accounts that you follow. So which will have more focus towards what you want to do. So differentiating among platforms, yes. So you have to understand the type of content you post on certain platforms. So LinkedIn, you don't post the same content that you post on Facebook on LinkedIn, because the audience is different. LinkedIn is more professional, but Facebook is more lighter, right? It's a very friendly kind of approach that you take. That's why it's like a party. Twitter is like a club. So you know what to do at a club, and then that's how Twitter is. So LinkedIn is a conference, and Instagram is, I call it, it's an exhibition. Yes, you may have different connotations to it, but I believe it's a great platform. I have to say that, because a lot of entrepreneurs use Instagram now, and Instagram and LinkedIn go hand in hand in the current context. And also, if you're going for B2C brands, it's TikTok. And if it's B2B brands, it's LinkedIn. So this is how you differentiate, and always make sure that you put out the right content on social media. That makes a massive impact on your personal brand.
Nice. This is a different kind of a question, just to prick your brain on this. See, as you said, different channels act in different ways, right? Now, how do you maintain your profile? It's not only see, you have a personal life as well, right? While you manage your personal brand, you have to have I know you have a page versus a profile on Facebook, and I do have the bigger course for my content, but I have my personal profile going in. Now we have a tendency of searching if you are going for a meeting with someone, you have a tendency of just googling that person and trying to see or check that person on Facebook. So how do you manage your personal profile, the profile picture that you put on WhatsApp? Do they have any effect on your personal brand? Is there anything like that? Do you need to have that Facebook picture like this, Insta like this, your profile picture on LinkedIn is there anything on your imagery that you put in there, the photos that you upload? Let's come to the personal brand, about the your what you're posting in terms of your personal brand. But on your personal life, does it have an impact? Should we be caring about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Prashan. That's a good question, because now if you take a candidate, right, you apply for a job, and that company would screen your profile. So you should have a proper profile picture which shows it's you. You can't have a Bollywood star or Hollywood star as your profile picture. Why do you need to do that? Because you have confidence. You should have confidence to show yourself, right? So these are little points, but little things go a long way, Prashan. And as I said, and as you said, when you want to search for a person, you Google. And what do you see? This is what we're talking about. Personal branding in the digital era. And we're talking about online presence, right? Your online presence is absolutely crucial. And when you type your name on Google, if your LinkedIn profile comes on top, yes, your online presence is good. Otherwise, you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get into that position, right? So talking about personal profiles, you have to be very careful when maintaining your personal profiles, because that is how people look at you. That is how people screen you. People might look at your profile. If they do not see, or if they do not see or get a clear understanding of what your mindset is, you might get rejected in the interview, or you might not be called for an interview. Simple as that. So always make sure what you post on your social media accounts, the profile picture, the cover picture, all these things matter. And make sure that you use a professional headshot, or maybe a picture that you are clearly seen. But it has to be you, not animals or Bollywood stars or Hollywood stars or vehicles or whatever, right? It's you, right? So that is it. Because as you rightly said, it makes an impact on your personal brand. Because when you search for, okay, imagine you don't know me, and you Google my name, and you come up with my, you see my LinkedIn profile. So there is a picture where you can clearly see me. Then you know, oh, he's the guy, right? So likewise, the profile picture and all these elements that you post on your social media profiles are absolutely important.
Right, great. You were talking about LinkedIn. If you Google and if your LinkedIn profile comes on top, then you have done well. I don't know, this is an area that you charge and train people, but just on a high level, right? How you optimize? You were mentioning about we don't want to, go for exact details, because you may be, consulting, and it could be your one of your ways of living also. So as you tell the audience, if you are, helping out them in terms of optimizing the LinkedIn profiles, you talk about that as well. But in terms of optimizing, what sort of things, Sasanka, that we can do? How can we get on, maybe when we search for a certain candidate, or the recruiters do these things, right? So how can we optimize our LinkedIn profile? Any tips on
Yeah,
that?
so sure. So Prashan, I think it's a separate topic for a different webinar. I'll say it in that way, right? So it's a long process. So I'll just give out few tips. So first thing is you have to have your proper profile picture, which is a professional headshot, where you should be smiling, right? You can't have selfies as your profile picture. Simple as that, right? Don't put selfies as your profile picture, right? And the banner, LinkedIn banner should depict what you're doing. It should show what you're doing. When someone sees your banner, okay, this is what he's doing. He or she should get the idea of what you're doing. So simple as that. And then optimizing the profile, you have to optimize your profile to the all-star level, right? So we can break this into a lot of areas. So when you optimize your LinkedIn profile to the all-star level, your visibility goes up in about 27 times. So it's like if your profile is basic, that is optimized, optimization level is basic, maybe imagine 10 people see it. But when it's all-star, about 300 people will see it. So simple as that. So that's how the LinkedIn algorithm works. And like I said, you need to fill details one by one. So that is something that we can discuss at length. That's why I told you it's a topic for a different separate webinar, Prashan. So basic is have a proper profile picture. If you don't have a profile picture or a proper profile picture, when you send a request, people will question your authenticity. Is this a real person? Is this a fake account? Because you have fake accounts on LinkedIn. You have fake accounts on all platforms, Twitter. And then the recent example is Prashan. I think Elon Musk turned down his offer to buy Twitter because a lot of fake accounts. So simple as that. So you have fake accounts. So make sure that when someone sees your profile, he or she should not get the idea that your profile is fake. So have a proper headshot, professional headshot, and the LinkedIn banner, and fill all your details, education, and all that properly. Take some time and do it. So it's not a waste of time. It really works. It's so powerful.
I was
Prashant,
going,
you're on mute.
yeah. I was going to ask, and I'm happy that one of our participant from the audience have asked this question. Since it has come to us as a personal message, I won't read the name. So it is what we post on social media depicts who we are. And you told that on that ground, we sometimes there are political viewpoint, etc., on personal profiles. Does this have an impact on the jobs we apply at the instances where recruiters screens our profile, right? අරගලයට ජවේවා කියලා දාලා ඒක මට ජොබ් එක නැති වේද කියලා අහන්නේ අරගලයට හරි ඔයාගේ whatever, someone's mic is on, we just yeah. So Sasanka, what's the take on that? Right, your political views, you're sharing political views, would it have an impact in terms of when someone screens us?
Yeah, it certainly has an impact. It certainly has an impact because you have to be, as much as possible, try to be apolitical. Try to not share controversial content, racist content, religion-related content. Right? It's okay to educate people on a positive note, but do not create that forum where negativity is spread. That is my take, right? So you have to be always careful when posting content. That's why I said think twice before you post, before you click the post button. Think again, is this okay to post? If someone sees this, what will they think about me? So always rethink and then post. So try to be a political. Yes, it will certainly have an impact. It will certainly have an impact because people will screen you or your profile and understand what your mindset is. So if you are obsessed with the political party or not, or if you're interested in, yeah, politics is good. Politics is a strategic subject. It's good, but not in Sri Lanka, right? So it's a strategic subject. That's why you learn it, right? There's a subject called political science. Yes, it's strategic, but this is a different story because you tend to create unnecessary conversations. Now, if you have experience, you create conversations on politics, and it just goes on. And ultimately, when you think, what do you have in it? Why am I doing it? Why should I comment to this? Do I need to be a part of this conversation? Think in that manner. What do you gain? Are you wasting your time? Or is there something that you gain out of it? Always think of that. Yes, if you have something that you can help someone, go for it. Right? And other than that, try to be a political, don't post controversial content, nothing racist, nothing religion related. No way. So my take is, because people will screen your profiles in the current context, that will definitely happen. Right now, Prashan, when I was a trainee as a news anchor, news reader, right, there were no smartphones. It was feature phones, right? But now it has evolved to a stage where everything is digital, right? Everything is digital. So when you apply for a job, first thing they'll do, they'll screen your profiles. And yeah, if you have political or unnecessary content, or something which incites racism or religion related clashes or brawls or whatever, unnecessary, that will have a negative impact on your brand.
I was thinking, how old were you when we were, because news anchor, no smartphones, you must be quite old, I was thinking.
I was about 20 when I started reading. So that was back in 2007.
I know. That's when just the smartphones came in. Of course, that is another thing also, because with we have about 150% of our population, the number of mobile phones in the country are about just 1.5 times of our population. We have about 30 million mobile phones, and out of which I think we have more than 50% smartphone penetration as well, which definitely has connected people, and also the information is on the tip of everyone's fingertips, and it has quite made everyone connected. And as I said, if you want to know about Sasanka, it's just while this is going, some people would have just Google both of us and checked us as well. Sasanka, I have seen this on LinkedIn. You have this content topics or hashtags kind of things, content areas, about 5. You can, on my profile, I've seen about 5 areas that I can talk about, right? So this question is based on that as well. How do you generate ideas for your content? Right now, your area, niche area. Now you told about that, and on that there is a question, Sasanka asking, what's the book Sasanka mentioned to find the passion?
That's a real life MBA, right? Can I type it in the chat?
Yeah.
I think that'll be easy for everyone. So let me type it in the chat. So it's real life MBA by Jack and Susie Welch.
Great.
right?
So
So
about the content,
that's the
now
goal.
you have identified your passion. Now,
Mm.
how do you generate ideas? Because I find it, very difficult to come up because you need to frequently publish also,
Mm.
not just like, you're having a, bath, you are happy, you're having a drink and suddenly a eureka moment comes in, you can't make content out of that. But on a frequent basis, you need to post content. How do you go about generating ideas for content, Sasanka?
Yeah, before that, since you mentioned about these 5 areas that you can post in or mention in your LinkedIn profile, that's
Hmm.
the creator mode, Prashan.
Yeah,
LinkedIn
great.
has something called the creator mode. So
Yeah.
in that, you can select about 5 topics where you can speak. So you should be, you're able to speak on those 5 topics. Coming back to your question, how to generate content ideas? Very important question. Yes, you need to keep up with the consistency, so on and so forth. So there are various ways. So one is YouTube. You watch videos, you listen to podcasts, video podcasts, audio podcasts, so on and so forth. So when you do that, there are certain points where people mention about something really important. Maybe a line, maybe one word. So that triggers your content. That triggers your idea for content. So this is one way. And also a great source for content is Twitter. If you're on Twitter, try to follow Twitter lists so that you generate ideas for content. You see a lot of people sharing plenty of content, and it's about filtering the content. And one thing that you have to remember when generating ideas is we are in a world of information overload. Lot of information. How many social media platforms do we have? And how many social media platforms are we using? And imagine you use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, or whatever. Imagine the amount of information that flows in to your accounts, right? Your profiles. And you need to filter, because when you select the niche, okay, these are the specific Twitter lists that I will follow. I will read them and generate content. These are the specific YouTube channels that I will subscribe to, right? Follow on Instagram, follow on LinkedIn, follow on Facebook. So looking at these content, you generate ideas. And another way to generate content is being disconnected. You just walk in nature, just go out and walk. Maybe you're walking, maybe you're jogging.
Cycling.
Just
These days, cycling.
cycling, exactly. Absolutely spot on. So it's about adapting. And then content can also be adapted, or generation ideas can also be adapted in that manner, right? As you said, when you're cycling, you see something, right? And through that, you generate a content idea. And it's all about having your mind open. Always have an open mind. Now, even in this situation, Prashant, there are opportunities. Opportunities are there. It's just that we don't see them because our mind is not open enough to see those opportunities. So it's just that we have to be open-minded and just deviate from the narrow-minded attitude we have. Just practice ourselves, train our minds to be open-minded, and then look at those opportunities. So content generation ideas. So you can talk about stories, right? Stories are very powerful. And Prashan, I'm sure then, because as a versatile marketer and a branding expert, how powerful stories are. So sometimes the stories you think that people don't want to hear, you think in that way. But those are certainly the stories that people want to hear, right? So this can also trigger ideas. This is another idea. So always you have diverse exposure. You're from different fields. Even our wonderful audience, people from our wonderful audience, Prashan, are from different industries, right? So You have stories, childhood, maybe stories in your school, in your office, in the field that you're working in. A lot of stories. And if you have 8 billion people in the world, 8 billion stories, not a single story is identical. It's unique. So you have to tell your unique story. That's what people want to hear. And another way to generate content is looking at the comments, Prashan. You have a post and you see a comment. This is relevant to any platform, right? You see the comment, and then sometimes you resonate with that comment or the situation that is expressed in that comment. And then you start writing ideas based on that trigger point. So this is how it moves on. So walk in nature and always work yourself to be creative, write, journal, so on and so forth. So then you will develop content ideas, watch videos, find out a word, find out a line, and try to create your own content. Because anything creative in this world has 3 points. One is copy, second is transform, and the other is combine. So there's nothing original. You see it from somewhere, you transform it with your ideas, and then you combine both. That's how your uniqueness will come out. So that's where you will be good at, and that's where you will stand out in your personal brand.
Great. I think audience, you learned a theory there as well. Copy, transform, and combine.
Yeah, because there was a particular TED talk which I listened to long time ago, Prashan. I'm not sure of the title, but if I come across, I will definitely share it with you so that you can share it with our audience. So it's copy, transform, and combine. So that's how you create something new, something novel. That is your own creation.
Right. So, Sasanka, we have a question on the thanks audience. There are a lot of questions. I'll see how well we can answer everything. So, on the type of content that is, Sasanka, what is the most recommended, whether it's video content or otherwise? Should it be text or video or GIF or what? She's asking.
Yeah.
What sort of content?
So it depends on the platform. Now, video content is always powerful in most of the platforms, but short videos, because videos are watched or social media is used on mobile phones, right? So the attention spans are very less. So if you're posting on social media platforms, make sure that it's less than 2 minutes or maybe less than 1 minute, so that you create that traction to your content, right? And on the other hand, if it's LinkedIn, how LinkedIn works is that now the LinkedIn algorithm requires lengthy content. You have to write long sentences, long paragraphs, long pieces of content, right? And use 3 hashtags maximum, right? Then that's what LinkedIn algorithm likes. So make sure that you identify your content topic and start recording videos or images, GIFs, as you said, and so on and so forth. So video content is powerful. Video content is powerful. And now I see a trend of screenshots being posted as well. So screenshots has a different type of traction on all of the platforms. If you take a screenshot and post it on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook, you'll see a bit of reach coming in. So, and on the other hand, Prashan, it's not about, this is very important, it's not about the number of likes you get for your post. So you post something and just, okay, after 15 minutes, you go and check the likes. It doesn't work in that way. It's about, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to decide whether it's likes, whether I want likes or clients, right? And the other question is that we see creativity is a remix, Kirby Ferguson. Thank you very much, Oshan, reminding us the TED Talk, Prashan. So
Yeah.
So just imagine the presence of mind of this audience, Prashan. Wonderful, fabulous. Thank you very much, Oshan. So what I was mentioning is about the type of content, or you were asking about
The video versus the text.
exactly the content types, right? So on LinkedIn, it's lengthy posts. You have polls, because if you want to do research, you can run polls. The polls has a lot of reach on LinkedIn, right? Then you have image posts, video posts, so on and so forth. So try to not use images, but write lengthy posts. And if you're sharing on LinkedIn, if you're sharing a post from a page, you have to at least write 100, you have to write more than 150 words mentioning the page. That's how you will gain traction. So these are theoretical, a bit of technical jargon, Prashant, but jargon that you can understand, I would say, right? So that's how it
Like,
is.
I'll just
Because
add
that's,
on one thing, something to what you're
please.
saying.
Hmm.
A year back, I think in 2020 or 21, LinkedIn introduced stories, right? Just like
Hmm.
on Insta, you had stories. We had corporates announcing their quarterly annual results and all that through stories as well. I can see top corporates globally, not so much locally, but globally. But after some time, LinkedIn felt that corporate story thing doesn't work, and they took it off, right? So as you said, what type of content that goes to what sort of platform? Even now, we post a longer video on YouTube, take the snippets onto Instagram Reels and to TikTok. So likewise, as you said, you need to look what content goes for what particular platform, and that's what you told about the LinkedIn is particularly that's the first time that I heard that, and that's a bit of an advice for us. Also, how do you look at having a long sentence with 3 hashtags and with backlinks and the screenshot story? Thank you for that as well. Sasanka, since we are nearing our 1 hour's discussion, also just from this whole digital part, to let me just jump on to a bit of offline as well. There's a question
Yeah.
on the group from Mahesh Gamla, who asks, how can we build our personal brand when we are engaging with people in corporate environment versus personal life? So his question is about, should you be managing multiple identities among your personal life versus corporate environment? What are the strategies that we can follow? Should we be I don't know. I've heard about faking it also from Shanuki
Yeah.
at a TED Talk. But just tell us, I think his question for me to repeat, how can we build our personal brand when engaging with people in corporate environment versus personal life? What are the strategies that we can follow?
Very important question. So it's about offline personal brand, right? So yes, this triggers me something and recalls something in a session that I faced, right? There was a question like this. A person asked a question, how can we build a personal brand if internet is not there? I was alarmed by that question. So it's the same question that he has asked. So it's about projecting your online brand identity to the offline world. You can't be one person with your online brand identity and another person in your uh, offline identity or the physical identity. So you have to maintain your presence, right? The way you dress, the way you speak, style of speaking, right? Your punctuality. All these are part of your personal brand. And Prashant, you have this experience, I don't know, for so many years, right? So it's about how you carry yourself, what you talk with them, and understanding their behavior. Now, because when you're meeting a person face to face, there is a psychological aspect which comes in, which is you have to understand their behavior. What are they talking? How can I align with what he says? So this is how you build that relationship. This is how you try to find the synergy among the two passions, right? Meeting a client is exactly that, Prashan. Right? So you have to understand how he thinks, especially if you're a sales professional, you know in and out of this. So if you don't understand how he thinks, you can't even approach to do a sale, right? And that is part of sealing the deal. So it's a psychological aspect, and you need to do some research about the person whom you're going to meet with. Right? These are very important facts. So you have to make sure that there is a certain preparation process when you're meeting offline, when you're maintaining your personal brand offline or physical personal brand is totally different. Totally different as in the preparation process. Yes, you do research about the person whom you're going to meet with, right? So it's really crucial, and you have to be concerned about all these factors when you're going to meet a person, and that is your personal brand. And when you're meeting a person for the first time, you have to have all these factors spot on, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Definitely.
You don't get
So
a
folks,
second chance to make a first impression.
First impression. Definitely. I was just thinking to myself, Sasanka, just before this, I had a CIM class which is on corporate reputation management. And something that we harp on as a theory is in building your identity, it's your communication behavior and symbolism, the SBC. It's the same thing that we need to manage. As you said, the way you talk, way you dress, and way you behave is who you are, right? And you cannot, as a corporate also, you can't manage multiple identities. You have to, be true to what the purpose that you stand for, and you need to basically deliver that. Sasanka, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our 1 hour, right? If there is one last question, we can accommodate that as well. But on a ending note on personal branding in the digital era, what's the final message that you want to? Yeah, there are no questions. It seems so. Let's go for the ending note. Sasanka, what's that? One last message that you want to keep with the audience.
Yes. So always identify who you are. That is number one. And as I told you, it's about finding your passion. You know what you're good at. You know what you're not good at. And personal brand will give you opportunities to convert your weaknesses into strengths. That is through learning. You will meet people whom you can learn from. So likewise, when you're building your brand, when personal branding is your visibility, how far you are seen on the digital platforms, how powerful is your online presence. So when you're visible, people see you, right? It's about whom you know and who knows you. These are the two factors that really matter. So I always say this, think positively, always spread positivity through your content, and you consume positive content. It's very hard to mention these are positive content channels, but you can identify it. So always consume positive content, then you will come up with positive content. And what I finally have to say is that try to not post anything political, controversial, racist, or religion related, right? And I'll wrap up by saying this is my personal branding statement. So whatever you do, whatever content you post, be an influencer, not an influencer.
So folks, be an influencer, not an influencer. Definitely influencer is around us also.
Absolutely.
So folks, with that note, we'll indeed, as Sasanka mentioned, consume a lot of positivity as well as, post positivity, because the world as a whole definitely needs a lot of positivity.
Prashan, I think
Yes.
one more thing before we wrap up, right? So since you talked about the LinkedIn profile optimization and all that, so this is what I do. So I
Nice.
have a separate course for that. So if you can let me share the
Sure,
screen,
sure, sure.
I should be able to
Yeah,
show that to you.
you should be able to share. Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
It's coming up. It says Sasanka has started screen sharing. Yet to see the audience. Can you see it? I see. Ah, yeah. Now it's there.
Yeah. So it's called the LinkedIn Hustler course, or how to become a LinkedIn hustler, right? So kickstarting your LinkedIn journey. So this is my partner, whom you can see on the left-hand side. She's Punita Parekh, a content marketer from India. And this is what we focus on the course. So how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, as Prashan, you mentioned about having the profile picture correct and all these elements in a proper way, and different ways to kickstart your content creation journey, how to build your own tribe. So building community is really important when you're building your social personal brand, and finding your niche, rules of engagement on LinkedIn, and how to get clients via LinkedIn. So these, when you follow these areas, you can identify opportunities that you have, maybe for learning, maybe for finding new clients, and looking for your next opportunity, right? So if you're really interested in this, please drop me a message on LinkedIn. I think I can also share my
Please do. As
LinkedIn
I was going
profile
to say,
link.
yes, you can share it.
I'll share my LinkedIn profile link so that you can,
yeah,
so that we can connect. So this is my profile link. So feel free to connect with me. And if you
I was
have
going
any
to say, Sasanka, you
questions,
don't actually have to share, because I've got about 3 LinkedIn requests while the session was going from the audience. I saw the name, so they're very tech savvy.
right,
And yeah, but
right,
yeah, guys, you can uh, send a message to Sasanka if you're
yeah,
interested in that course. Right. With that, we have
yeah,
come to an end. Thank you very much, Sasanka. I know you had to relocate. That's how we do it. We need to have alternative power. Yesterday also we had the same issue with another speaker on. But thank you very much for taking that extra effort and spending this 1 hour for this audience. Of course, the recording we will upload on social media as well. You have anything to share?
yes. So I just want to say thank you very much, Prashan, for having me. And I want to thank you and the Picker Course team for doing this wonderful job. This is a fantastic endeavor. Keep doing it, because enlightening audiences of this nature is really important. And I really value the audience who joined us today. And thank you very much for joining. And your
Sasanga,
compliments.
there's one more request for the audience. We generally have
Yeah.
this formality of taking what you call a screenshot, right? Not
All
a
right. Okay.
selfie or a photo. If you are in a position to switch on your camera, whoever, please do that. We just want to keep this in the memories as well. So whoever is in a position to switch on their cameras, please do for 5 seconds maybe, if you're okay. So our pick a course coordinator would take it. Anyone who's in a position, last week we had a session with Fahad. Seems the audience, okay, we have a few switching on. Thanks, Niroshini. Shanaka, thanks. Thank you. Others, yeah, thanks, Dushani. We have Mahesh. Yeah, we'll wait for a bit. Slowly the cameras are, because you have to do a bit of a preparation. I know, yeah, facing some difficulty. Right, Bhavisha, Surini, your camera is pointed towards the roof, I think. Yeah, thanks. Shah, good to see you, because Shah had been in one of my classes, but it's the first time I'm seeing Shah. Although he was in my class, right? Guys, let's take Bhavisha.
Thanks, Prashan.
Can you
What a nice session. And thanks to Sasanka also. Good session, yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Can we have a thumbs up or a peace out sign for a picture? Yes. Done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. And do follow, pick a course. We have this kind of webinars coming in the future as well. Let's see how well we can connect. Sasanka is a busy individual as well, but let's see how well we can connect Sasanka on another session as well. And with that note, thank you very much, everyone. Have a pleasant evening and good night.